on the ropes. Luckily, the big defensive tackle with the game-saving pick. And I really, I know they had the penalty that got it called back, but as he was rumbling down the sideline, all that was going through my head was fat guy pick, fat guy touchdown, fat guy dance. That's what I was looking for. I wanted to see him bust a move in the end zone, but it was a good game. Missouri did what I thought they were going to try to do. They tried to test y'all deep with the speed on the outside with Luther and some of the other wide receivers, but it was a good back and forth game. I was glad to see y'all able to pull it out and stay undefeated, though.
Yeah, man, that's right. Big guy pick, man. Hey, shout out to the old lineman from Mizzou that ran him down, dog. The dude was about 5 yards behind him and actually ran around somebody that tried to block. If it wasn't for the blindside block, we would have had good field position. Nevertheless, man, we still went on to get a score. So shout out to the Dogs, man. Coach, did you watch the Dogs take on Missouri today?
You know what? I didn't. I had some other things going on and missed out on that one.
I got you. What about you, Seawalk?
Unfortunately, man, I missed all games today.
Yeah. You was out and about in Gatlinburg, dog.
Yeah, man.
So, and I know, Jason, you was watching the Oklahoma State game.
I had it on the other screen.
Hey, Missouri played good today, dog. I ain't gonna take nothing from them.
They played good for a pretty good while, huh?
Yeah, and I thought what's his name? Drinkowitz. I thought Drinkowitz called a pretty good game. You know what I'm saying? Luther Burton hurt us a little bit early, but Kirby actually moved Kamari Lassiter, our All-American caliber corner, into the slot to slow that down, and I think that was the difference in the game in the second half. So, all right, man, let's talk about this Notre Dame Clemson game. Seawald, I know you was out and about. Did you go back and have a chance to watch it, dog?
Yeah, man. So let me start out with earlier this week, I was filming my first reaction video and the newbie hit me and I realized my mic wasn't working. So I recorded this video and realized my mic wasn't working, and then I got sick. So I never got to put this reaction video out. But anyways, with that being said, so what I was doing in that video was breaking down the two possible scenarios I could see playing out in this game. Good for Clemson, bad for Clemson. Well, the good for Clemson was like spot on for what I said. Last year, Notre Dame dominated Clemson in the trenches, offensively and defensively. They had 263 yards rushing, two running backs, Estime and Diggs, both had 100 yards. And I was not sure our D-line was going to be up to the task again this year. That's the one weak spot in our defense was the D-line against the run defense in most of these games. And fortunately enough, they were able to hold their own. You know, Sam Hartman's been turning the ball over quite a bit here lately.
Hartman just can't get he can't catch a break against the Clemson Tigers.
well, last year, I mean, look, they lost last year. Wake Forest did, but he threw 6 touchdowns, so he got his. But here lately, he's been turning the ball over, and Clemson was able to run the ball. You know how I've been with Mafia. Hey. What he put on display today is what I've been wanting us to let him do.
I've been saying it since they came in together that Shipley was the better football player, but Mafia was the better running back. And I don't think it's close. And he's starting to show that a lot. So welcome into the show, my guy, Jay from Unfair Sports. What's going on, Jay?
Man, you know, drinking away my sorrows again for the second week in a row.
Hey man. Listen,
enjoying the fact that the referees hate our guts, egregious calls that would have ended the game. You know, trying to figure out why we keep letting the refs help determine the end of a game. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
That's what we definitely going to get into when we start talking about Bedlam, man. So we appreciate you joining us, dog. We're going to finish up this Clemson Notre Dame talk. Coach, it was a rough one today, man. And to be honest with you, if you didn't know the records of the two teams, I think you would have thought that Clemson was the 2-loss team and Notre Dame was the 4-loss team. I felt like they kind of controlled the game from start to finish.
Well, I'll tell you what, I felt going into the game, I thought it was going to be a tough game to start with. I mean, you got, and I know we were playing a Clemson team that was 4-4, but guys, they lost what, two ball games in was it in overtime or two really tight ones? I mean, they've had some incredibly tight ball games.
Yeah.
And I know they haven't been playing up to par, but just all the happenings of the week. The fan or the podcaster, whatever it was that kind of ripped Coach a little bit on that. I think it was everything just fell into place.
You talking about Tyler? You talking about Tyler from Spartanburg?
Yeah.
I want to thank Tyler from Spartanburg for making that call into that show.
Tyler got his 15 minutes of fame. They even mentioned him on ESPN. They say maybe Tyler from Spartanburg needs to call in every week.
Well, and I tell you what, I think it was the perfect storm. And I'm telling you, all week long I was worried about this ball game. Yeah. Because I truly thought they could upset us. And then when you go in the ball game, you turn the ball over that many times, just like same thing we did against Louisville. You turn the ball over that many times, you try to catch a punt. Tyree tries to catch a punt with his face mask. And that turns into a score. And then we throw a pick six. You can't win ball games like that. Honestly, I was just happy we were as close at the end of the game as we were, because it should have been worse. We should have got our ass kicked a lot worse.
Honestly, it did start out to look like it was going to be a blowout, but you guys did stay in the fight. So
yeah, and I tell you, no, go ahead.
I was just going to say Clemson did everything they could toward the end of the game to try to continue to do what they've done all season and give games away.
Yeah, and I thought it could happen. I really did. I thought it could happen, but. I'll be honest with you. Talking about the perfect storm, I was hoping Shipley was well, and I think would have been better off had he been well. To be honest with you, but it is what it is, guys. At least we didn't have the referees beat us, guys. But at the end of the day, they just lined up and whipped our ass, and that's it. We're not there yet. I think we have some of the same problems OU has. I don't know how good our offense coordinator is. I don't think that we're playing complementary football. You were talking about the D line, Seawalt, and the thing about that was, hell, we didn't give the ball to Estime in the second half, but maybe 2 or 3 times.
I didn't understand
guys, that's crazy shit to me. I mean, you got one of the best backs in the country, and you don't give him the ball 2 or 3 times against a D line that's suspect. So I don't know. I'm really struggling with our play calling. I don't think we have good we're not playing good complementary football across the board. And again, I think that's hurting us. Defense. Everybody was pissed off at defense a little bit. But at the end of the day, hell, defense can't win the ball games every week, and they've done that a couple of weeks in a row now. So, but anyway, we are where we are. We obviously know we're not going to be playing in the big bowl game. Hell, we'll be lucky if we play in the damn toilet bowl. But at the end of the day, this is where we are, and we got to finish out the season and try to get better. And see what we're going to do quarterback-wise in the future.
Yeah, Jason, did you get a chance?
And coordinators.
You get a chance to check that Clemson Notre Dame out?
Yeah, I watched it, most of it up until kickoff for OU and stuff. Yeah, they were I mean, I watched the end of the game too. It's just, you kept thinking that Notre Dame was going to go ahead and win the thing, and they just didn't.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, it started out, man. It started out like it was going to run away with it, but then, Notre Dame showed the fight, and then, like Seawall says, like Clemson was trying to get a ball away. I mean, trying to get a game away, but they held on for it. So, hey, man, shout out to the Tigers for getting the dub, man. And right before we jump into the OU game, man, just quickly, Stat Guy, you are the real Gamecocks. You are finally. You didn't win the Battle of the Carolinas. You lost to North Carolina. You didn't win the Battle of the Columbias. You lost to Missouri, so at least you beat Jacksonville State, but they literally had y'all on the ropes like until a minute and like 40 seconds left.
Hey man, thank goodness for Stone Blanton. I mean, I truly believe we almost paid $1.3 million for Shane Beamer to lose his job tonight. I think it was that close. I mean, you can't lose that game, and I mean, the post game with Beamer after the game drives me crazy, bro. What's there to celebrate? We beat a bad team by 10 because of a pick six, and they were winning with a minute to go in the third quarter. Like, man, get out of here. There ain't nothing to celebrate. Woo, we got to win. Like, let's strap up next week and not get beat at home by Vandy. And the thing I think that made it so bad was they were celebrating the 2013 team today. So you had all of these studs on campus, all the guys that helped build kind of those glory years of that 5-year run for South Carolina. All those guys were back home today, and this is the performance you show. I mean, it could be worse. So I mean, I could be on here after a loss and be throwing stuff still around the house. So at least we got the dub. But hey, you didn't ask my opinion. So my opinion on the Clemson game.
Oh yeah.
I completely bought into the conspiracy theory now. Dabo paid somebody to call him to be Tyler from Spartanburg, and you can't tell me otherwise.
Hey, whatever happened, it worked. That's the thing. So who knows? Maybe Michael from Clinton's gonna call next week or something like that. Maybe Beamer needs somebody to call his show, dog. Because Beamer, listen, man. Beamer is a great motivator, great recruiter, but I don't know if he's that guy. You know, the head man. Seawalt, what you got on that?
I just wanted to add one final thing with the Clemson game. I know Mafia had the amazing game, but I'm gonna give the game ball to that offensive line because I've beat them all season long, and this was the best starting five they put together with their two of their three best linemen injured for the season now.
Exactly.
This was the best they've looked all year, so I'm gonna give them the game ball for that game.
I agree.
Listen, man, we got us. I'm with you, man. The offensive line hasn't looked good. Be honest with you. You guys have had in the past good offensive linemen, but you've never had a good offensive line in my estimation. And they actually did look good today. So shout out to the offensive line. Shout out to the Gamecocks for getting that win. And to talk about really good games as far as an outsider, I'm watching this Washington USC. This is a thriller. Another game that I was watching closely was Bedlam. Listen, man, I thought both teams did stuff good. I thought both teams did stuff bad. I thought the refs had some shaky calls, just like they did in the Georgia Mizzou game. The one thing that I noticed is when I look back at the stats after the game, it was pretty much like, the quarterbacks were kind of neck and neck. The wide receivers, the top two wide receivers for both teams, neck and neck. The running backs for both teams, they both were Stutzman and I want to say Gordon. I think that's his name from
Ollie Gordon.
Ollie Gordon.
Yep. Both of but Stutzman, not Stutzman, but y'all running back.
Salchuk.
Salchuk
was showing up finally. Yeah.
Yep. They both ran for about the same. The yardage was about the same. The third down percentage was about the same. The thing that was not the same. Y'all had 3 turnovers. They only had 1. And I'm gonna let you guys get into it. Jay, you can take first stab at it. I know you had some some comments about these refs, but outside of the refs, there was other things going on.
No, yeah, and for me, the biggest problem is that we let the refs have the opportunity to make the decision in the game.
Big facts.
That we let the referees be able to have an influence in the game. And when I do my morning after tomorrow for my viewers, anybody that watches me is on here, you're going to hear me repeat that over and over. We got to stop letting the refs have an opportunity to influence any of these games in the Big 12 because we know Big 12 refs are trash. I'm looking at current members of the Hateful Eight, the final 8 that was left, and then they add in the other 4 teams of the Big 12 saying the exact same thing that I'm saying. Big 12 officiating's trash. But you know what? We're not going to go into that right now. So, again, we got to stop putting ourselves in a situation where the refs had that much influence. And so I'm still proud of the team and the strides that we've taken from last season. We went 6-7. We looked atrocious. We look a lot better, but we're still not good enough to go for a title. And I didn't expect us to play for a title this year. I thought that we were going to overachieve and get us about 11 wins. 11 wins ain't there no more. We're now at 10 wins. 10-2 is what we're going to push for as long as we close the season out. And so you're right, Coach. That's the big thing for me. Both sides of the ball made a lot of mistakes. Like, there's levels to the issues that happened in that game that affected how everything turned out. The 2 fumbles from the 2 bad snaps that gets your butt kicked. The interception didn't bother me because it was kind of like a punt, but I didn't like the fact that he threw it in double coverage. Right? I saw what he was trying to do. It was one of those situations where he's like, I need to get the ball to the receivers and let them at least try. Because for some reason, our offensive coordinator in the clutch feels a need to run a 3-yard pick play on a 4th and 5. Of course, we can blame the wide receiver to say you should know where that is. But at the same time, why would you take your best wide receiver out of the play to pick for your slot guy that's pretty consistent, but he ain't muscling nobody for no first down?
Yeah.
Why is Nick Anderson setting the screen? That made no sense to me. If anything, you put Nick and Farouk together, and then you let one of those two you get it to Farouk in that play. Or you get it to Drake Stoops in space. You don't get it to him on a short play like that because they knew it was coming. Like, that's what bothers. It's some of the decisions that was made on the offensive side of the ball. Substitutions, offensive line. The tight ends was blocking once every 5 plays. And then you get a break on the run. For some reason, Tyree Walker comes in. His first touch, he gets a touchdown. And we don't really play him much the whole game. And we know he's hurt. But for some reason, his first touch, he got a touchdown. It's like the run plays for the running back, for Tyree Walker, is completely different than the other running backs because he always gets positive yards. Now, Ollie Gordon, defensively, we had our hands full. This dude has 1,000 yards in basically 4 games. Like, he's absurd of an Oklahoma State running back. Like, he's up there with the Chuba Hubbards, you know what I'm saying? Like, they are infamous for putting the Tatum Bells, they're infamous for putting out running backs like that. The Justice Hills, who's in the NFL still, they put them out there. So you know something's going to come. So as I wrap this rant up, because I can go all day on how frustrated I am with the way this mess has been going on, but we beat ourselves, but we didn't get any help from the refs either. The refs went ahead and put the nail in the coffin when they realized that, they may actually come back and win this game. Let me go ahead and pretend like, first let me call a pass interference on Woody Washington. It shouldn't have been called. Then let me call a 15-yard penalty on the head coach for asking the question of why you're calling a pass interference on a play that shouldn't have been pass interference. And then we're going to make sure that they get in that end zone and give them that touchdown. And then we're going to go ahead and ignore the fact that they pulled the wide receiver out of it. This is the best part.
He caught the ball anyway.
The freaking ball. He still caught it. He didn't have possession when he got it out of bounds, but the ball cradles here. He's getting pulled the whole time. And literally everybody's looking at this like, man, that's kind of an egregious call. That's pass interference, ain't it?
That was
refs looking at it just like this.
That was the 3rd one that they missed.
Done. Done. Like, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do when you know that the refs got an agenda? Thompson, it's funny. Texas fans are in our reaction video right now. Texas fans, y'all know we hate Texas, right? Like we got a rivalry there. They in my comments right now saying, bro, I was watching the Texas-Kansas State game, and there was egregious calls there. Now, I don't want to see anybody but y'all in the Big 12 championship because then the refs won't be able to influence it. They hate both of us. But if we go up against O State, we go up against West Virginia, we go up against any other team, there's a good chance they're going to try to make us lose. The fix will be in. Ladies and gentlemen, the fix is in.
Listen, and like Jason was saying, and you said, you gotta get to the point where you can get out on a team and those bad calls don't affect you. Before you get it, go a little bit more into what Jay brought up and what Nathan is asking when Brent Venables came out on the field. Because normally, if it's a sideline warning, you get a warning first.
You didn't even get a warning. That's the whole thing about it. Last week, you had Beatonbow get a warning. And he was going crazy on the officials whenever that happened in last week's game. All Venables did was go. He didn't even. You expect Brent Venables to be losing because you expect him to be losing his shit because that's what Brent Venables does on the sideline.
Does anybody actually know what was said?
All he said in the press conference is, I just went out and asked him a question about something. I wasn't heated or anything. And they showed it on the broadcast that he wasn't even yelling at him. Yeah. He wasn't even trying. And all it was is he walked out there, and even the broadcasters even said that's a weird call because generally they get away with that a lot.
Or you get a warning first and then you get a call. So you really never see it called because you get the warning first and then they never do it again. You know.
And yes, even Wilkerson's talking about that they Gundy was on the field quite a bit talking to him. Yeah. You know, here's the thing here's where, just to kind of piggyback off of what Jay said though, when you have, I did my preview this morning and it was a little late getting done, but I got to tell you, to be honest, everything that we talked about for the last week, whether it was I saw Jay and Coop talking about it, I saw Ty and I talked about it on Around the Table Sports. Chris and I had talked about it last week in the post-game deal as well, that you needed to make sure that you hit them deep early. That's how you were going to get your run game going against Oklahoma State, because they have two big-time safeties that are going to go in there, and they almost act like linebackers. They get down there and close off anything in between the tackles. You were going to have to hit the edges, and probably even the freaking jet sweep was going to be viable as long as you go vertical too. You have to have a vertical threat. It's got to happen.
Yeah. You know, shout out to Matt Blackwell, man. He got in with a super chat on your channel, Jason. He says, blaming the refs is a cop out, in my humble opinion. Oh, you had multiple chances. One thing I will say is Jay and Jason both said you shouldn't leave it into their hands. I don't know if they're blaming. They're not blaming it for the loss. They're just saying it didn't help. And like Jason said, you just gotta get to the point where the bad calls might affect the drive, but it doesn't affect the game. That's what you got to get. A
drive at the end of the game like that, and you're in the end zone. And as Jay said, he caught the freaking football out of bounds, obviously, because he got jerked out of bounds. There's an official standing right there.
Yeah.
That was actually the third that should have been a PI. They had two other ones on Farouk. The problem is that you have an offensive coordinator that thinks that you're not getting stopped anything vertical, and you're going horizontal 3 out of 5 plays. It makes zero sense to me that you're throwing the freaking ball down the line instead of he never took off. That was another one of the keys to the game that we've been talking about this all week. You've got two of the fastest guys in the country in Brennan Thompson, 10-2 100 guy that came over from Texas, and then you've got the freshman Jacquez Petaway, and we're putting in Gavin Freeman, and he's dropping footballs. Look, there's a lot of blame to go around, but in the end, I'm not even just blaming Jeff Lebby on this either. I got to tell you, if you're Brent Venables, you know what the hell the game plan is. You can hear the play being called, and when they got that,
this is second week in a row. You know what I'm saying? Where you saying like
exactly. And when look that one where you have the when you came in the first fumble, whenever they snapped it to which Javonte Barnes hadn't played in weeks, and this is the play we're bringing him in on, is to take a snap.
Well, technically, BV said that snap wasn't supposed to go to him. That was a bad snap by Rain. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Shout out to the professor, man. The professor gave you $9.99 on Super Chat, man. He said y'all going to a bigger, better conference. It doesn't really mean anything, and y'all are recruiting at elite level, so it is what it is.
Yeah. Listen,
but it's still it. Listen, I'm gonna talk like again from
for at least 10 years.
That was my biggest thing. It mattered in the Big 12 race, definitely this year, because they have one up on you. But I thought, more so the loser of this game, it would be harder because you don't have a chance for redemption 364 days from now. Normally, when you lose to your rival, you like, God, now I got to take this, trash
for
talk
a year.
for a whole year. Now, it'll be played again. We just don't know when. And it could be 10 years from now. And you guys got to, I know you own the series with Oklahoma State, but ain't nothing like the last one. And I'm surprised Cody got in here on this one.
On any of this, Coach. And and the bottom line is I I don't even disagree with anybody saying what they want to say about, talking about the refs and this and that. The bottom line is they missed 3 of them. You get a trash call on, wasn't it on Vickers or was it on Woody? Because I thought Vickers got
Woody got one and Vickers got one too, but Woody's
Okay.
the one that's got the one that mattered.
I didn't think the one on Vickers was real either. But in any event, here's the thing: if you're not going to call it even, in which you don't really expect it to be even, but that's the thing is you can't afford to be making stupid mistakes. And the biggest problem with that fumble on that snap, it's not the fact that it was fumbled and it was a stupid play. It's the fact that you started the drive on the 1 freaking yard line. You're in plus territory now. They hadn't stopped you the whole drive. It's first freaking down, and this is the play you come up with. They haven't stopped you in your regular play calling. They hadn't stopped you all day. So, Shotty, that question that you just asked, it doesn't make sense because they're not stopping them. There wasn't a series that Oklahoma State actually stopped OU. It was OU stopping themselves with silly shit. And we're seeing this week after week after week. And this is the problem that I've been the Jeff Lebby apologist, man. I have been. I've been a Dillon Gabriel apologist. The other one is Dillon cannot be laid on the throat with him not having the arm that he doesn't have.
Yeah, this shorty's comment question is kind of on the back end of Mike Wilkerson earlier asking about the horizontal passes. Now, not just talking about Bedlam, but typically, Mike, when they throw it horizontally like that, it's one of 3 reasons or a combination of the 3. It's like Shorty said, either you don't trust your O-line, they're crowding, or secondly, they're crowding the box and you're trying to loosen up the box. And thirdly, you trust your athletes in space more than their athletes in space. That's normally why they call. Like at Georgia, we do a lot of swing passes and bubble screens and running back screens in motion because we trust it's to loosen up the defense, but we trust that our athletes can make a guy miss and make a big play. That's normally how you start the game. That's not a lot of times how you finish the game. But in the Bedlam case, like Jason was saying, you guys were, just straight up beating them. So why continue to do it? But like, I don't know why the speedy guy, I don't know why he didn't get in. Maybe, listen, I know for us, we got a 10-100 guy, from track and everything, but he doesn't play a lot now because he was missing passes early in the season and he missed some key blocks. So guys that aren't as fast as him get more playing time to him. So maybe, I don't know if that's the reason for the speedy guy not playing that you were talking about, Jason. But,
I just think you should have been testing them deep is all. That's the main thing that even if you weren't going to necessarily throw it to Thompson or whatever, you got to get those guys out of the box. I think that's another way to do it. But the truth is they were even gashing them in the middle, man. I mean,
shout out to the professor. He gave you another 5. Said he's turning on the CU game. He's out of here. He said shout out to
appreciate you, brother.
Me and Unfair, everybody on the panel, man. So hey man, we appreciate you, Professor. My guy Priest getting in here. You were a little late. We will go back over the dog game, Priest, but that's okay. I know you got a lot going on with the new grandchild and everything.
Grandbabies.
That's right, man. He's a part of the club now. You know what I'm saying? So
congratulations.
But yeah, man.
None of them show up in my house. Can y'all keep that water that way? Kids, I don't want. I told my kid, no green.
Listen, man. Listen, you got 1 minute and 7 seconds left. 4th and 4. USC has the ball, but Washington is up 10. Looks like Washington is gonna stay undefeated. Yeah. Hey, listen, man. These two teams, Caleb, outside of the fumble that he had, he pretty much did what Caleb does. They didn't have Marshawn Lloyd, but Washington didn't have James Polk or Jalen Polk. I don't remember his first name, but they didn't have that guy either. And they're missing some guys on defense. But it was everything that Jeff said it was going. Stat guy said it was going to be. The 2 quarterbacks coming out there trying to play for that Heisman, man, really. And they both put on the show. I think they said it was like 21 NFL scouts in the crowd tonight. So they put on a good show for those guys, man. So. Hey man, just what I was talking about in the opening, man, some perspective on the Oklahoma State game. I get it. That, like, again, you never want to lose to your rival. But when we came into the season, a lot of us level-headed people said that OU was, going to be 11-1, 10-2. Still on the table. I mean, as bad as it hurts, still on the table. it's the second year. It definitely hurts when you know you're better than, or at least you think you're better than the other team. So I'm not gonna act like it don't mean a lot. But what you can't do is let this hurt you next week. If you let it hurt you next week, then you start thinking like, what we doing? Why can't we keep these guys focused? Looks like here, Jason. Sooner Cowboy says Brent Venables is now 2-7 in 1-score games.
Yep.
Ooh, okay. Hey man, teachable moments. Learning how to close out games. Again, young in his coaching experience, so he'll start to do that. He says 8-4, 9-3. Is that what you're saying, Sooner Cowboys? You calling it, by the end of the season? If so, who else do you see y'all losing to? Because it's only 2 losses so far. So,
hey guys, hey Coach, I do have a question real quick. So, does anybody know what the hell the timeout was for to kick the field goal? Because I thought that was kind of a wasted timeout.
Oh yeah, that's poor management.
He's changed his mind.
Poor time management.
Yeah,
poor time management.
Okay.
Oh, and
I thought there might have been. I thought there might have been something that I missed during that time because I got up to go get a drink, came back, and I thought, what the hell's going on here?
He couldn't make up his mind, so they were thinking about going for it. He wasn't decisive enough, decided to go for the field goal, but by the time he made up that choice, he had to take a timeout. They weren't, or else you move it back even further.
Yeah.
But guys, and that's I guess, and one of my things is, and I think Coach Al will probably agree with this, but that's like coaching 101. You go ahead and put your kicking team out there, and then if you decide to go for it, and then if you're going to go for it, you call a timeout.
And you're typically right. I agree with you there. That's what you traditionally would do. Our kickers missed 4 of his last 5 kicks. So for us, it's more of the mindset
but still,
of
if you're going to waste that timeout, and I get
we should have went for it.
Right, and I get that, but what I'm saying is
the wasting the timeout part is what Coach is talking. That's the waste.
No. That's what I said. It was poor time management. We shouldn't even call timeout. We should have just went for it.
Exactly.
There shouldn't even been a timeout even considered in that, because you're right, Coach. Usually you go out there with the kick team. If you see something you like, you call timeout, then you go for it. But instead, we did vice versa, which made no sense. It was you didn't have faith in them in the beginning. May as well just have gone for it and called it a day. Like,
big facts.
Like, what's the
big
point?
Facts.
Yeah,
So
I agree, Jay.
Sooner Cowboys
too.
Sooner Cowboys, you are right. Kirby did lose to Vandy, but it wasn't his second season. It was his first season. We lost to Vandy and Georgia Tech in his first season. We're at 8-5. Second season, we went and that's the year we beat Oklahoma in the Rose Bowl and went to the championship. But it happens. But like somebody said, you're supposed to get better. Bloody Guns. He said your teams are supposed to get better as the year goes on, not worse, and lose to shitty teams. I'm gonna be honest. I know they're y'all rivals, dog, but since Mike Gundy's started actually coaching, they're not a shitty team. I'm not saying they're great, but
when he stopped the quarterback roulette,
and Ollie Gordon is balling, dog. I mean, let's
Ollie
give
Gordon
the
who beat Oklahoma though. It was actually
he wasn't, but to have a good running game makes everything else work. So if you shut down the running game for any team, then outside of probably USC, because they don't really run the ball, so that's a different story. But man. So stat guy, thoughts on Bedlam, man?
Yeah, you can run the tape back. Called it back in July. Oklahoma State's not losing the last Bedlam under Mike Gundy. Not happening. But I'll be honest with you though.
The first thing you got right in that tape.
Yeah, hey, first thing. Hey, all I know is I got something right. It's all that matters. But no, I mean, I'm more impressed with the job he's done this year. Getting away from his typical offense, going to the pistol, relying more on the run game to open up the passing game. I mean, you want to talk about a veteran coaching job as far as making some major household changes. What a change that's been, and now the results are showing. I mean, we looked 4 games into the year after they were 2-2. Thinking they were dead in the water. Yeah. And I mean, they showed today they're a good football team. But Jason touched on it. And this was my thought after the no call on the pass interference. You knew going into the game And Texas should know when they play Texas Tech, if it's left up to the refs, you are losing the game.
Exactly.
Don't leave it up to the refs. You got to put the nail in the coffin when you get a chance. You can't beat yourself and leave it to that fate because you already know what the answer is. And you hate it for the kids, but if you look at that, you can look at plays throughout the game where maybe a kid missed a block, or you look at the 2 fumbles and stuff. I mean, stuff happens to put you in that situation. But you know what? Even I hope people can look past that, because what a football game. What an amazing football game that just was back and forth, just blows thrown. I mean, just a great football game on a good Saturday, big-time rivalry. It was just fun to watch.
Yeah, and I thought that Oklahoma State would come out with energy. My question was, could they hold on to that energy for 4 quarters? And they did, but it was a rivalry game. And again, this is from the outside looking in. It looked like a rivalry game. Like neither team wanted to lose that game like really bad. And it had nothing to do with the Big 12 race. It had nothing to do with the college football playoffs. It was, I hate you, you hate me. I don't want to lose this game, and that's kind of how it was. If only, like I say, you guys could have got honestly, in the 3rd quarter when you guys first came out, I was like, all right, this is it. You know, they got more stamina than Oklahoma State, but again, Mike Gundy didn't, like I say, he didn't do it like a stat guy say, he didn't do a bad job coaching today. He went to that pistol. He likes to throw the ball around the yard all the time, but hey, man, shout out to both coaches. Again, Brent Venables young, got a lot to learn, and hopefully he will be learning. And we'll see what happens with Jeff Lebby going forward. Sooner Cowboy says he thinks that OU will lose at home to West Virginia. West Virginia did look good today against BYU, but that travel to me is what does it for West Virginia or for teams going to
one thing if he
West
said
Virginia.
BYU.
So
the road game or whatever is one thing, but he's gonna call the home games.
Let's think about it though. If you ask any all these Oklahoma fans, we're gonna lose every game moving forward. So I wouldn't even be worried about it at this point. They're gonna say that every game. Oh, we're gonna lose that game because we suck, and 7-2 doesn't mean anything. We have regressed since Texas, and we only cared about Texas, and blah blah blah. Bad games happen. So, yeah, we screwed up in these last couple games. We did, but at the same time, the team doesn't suck. We just got some stuff we do need to clean up.
Tonight on defense.
We got to clean up a lot of stuff.
Nathan is asking, Coach from Coach of Texas native. You from Texas, right, Coach?
Yeah. Well, I was actually born in the state of New Mexico, but I moved to Texas when I was 2 years old. So that's where I grew up all my life.
Got you.
I do want to mention something though. You were talking a little bit about this being a rivalry game, and I think we use that term loosely with this ball game, because I don't believe it was a rivalry game when you get your ass kicked that many times.
True.
It's not much of a rivalry, but I think what made this one kind of overflowed into that rivalry atmosphere was the fact that the last time they're playing for a long damn time. And I think that added a lot of fuel to that, I guess, rivalry fire. And that's why, y'all heard me talk about it last week. Just like our game, I thought we could be in trouble, which obviously we were. But I thought it was the same thing with OU. I thought they could be in trouble. And I honestly thought Texas could have been in trouble this week too.
And they were. They had to go to overtime to beat Kansas
exactly.
State. So.
And so I think all 3 of those were kind of in the back of my mind thinking, boy, they're all going to be good ball games.
Yeah, man. Listen, man. It was a good game. Like I said, I think you could say Oklahoma State wasn't a good team at the beginning of the year, but I don't think you can say that now. And listen, if they handle business, they're playing for the Big 12 championship right now. Yeah. Them and Texas are the only 2 one-loss Big 12 teams. They have a loss outside of the Big 12 that doesn't have any effect on it. So as long as they don't get hurt and keep playing ball the way, keep feeding that monster in the backfield, everything's on the table. So now it's just that you need some help. Before you controlled your own destiny as far as the Big 12 championship. Now you need help. So stat guy can't look past that game because of the refs screw OU like 2006 Oregon OU game. Hey man, Again, referees make some bad calls. I definitely don't disagree with that. Just like if you tuned in for the Georgia-Mizzou game, you seen some blatant missed calls and bad calls, actually, you know, like a pass interference on a crucial third down that we got where Luther Burton actually pushed off our guy and they called pass interference on us. And they end up going on the score. At the end of the day, man, the good teams, if you want to get to where you want to be, the good teams have to play through that, man. And it is what it is. Like, I know Georgia fans will point to the 2018 Georgia-Alabama SEC championship. We blocked the punt. They called offsides. The guy wasn't offsides. But to be honest with you, I mean, the national championship, I'm sorry, in 2017. And then the reason we didn't lose the game because they that was a bad call, but we didn't lose the game because of that. We lost the game because of several other different plays, one of which was a safety trying to be a hero and out of position on a cover 2, and then they score in overtime. But if we go back before that, Kirby kept feeding Nick Chubb when he should have been giving the ball to Sony Michel. I mean, you can point to a lot of different things. So I get it. It's on the brain, dog. It's on the brain. But
Coach,
I
got another quick question, real quick.
Yeah.
So I know we talked about the referees a lot, and I guess one of my questions is here, because it's obviously been I don't know if I even want to use the word insinuated, but that the refs are cheating teams.
Yeah.
So do we honestly feel that way across the board, that referees are intentionally going after teams, or is it that they're making piss poor calls?
Well, this is my thing. I think when me and Jason first started, doing shows on each other's channel, that he mentioned that the Big 12 refs hadn't called a lot for Texas and the OU in the past.
That's
so I don't think, I'll be honest with you, some bad calls, but isn't this the same as how it always has been?
We're mostly talking about last year, though, and that was whenever they were fighting over whether they were leaving after this season or if it was going to be the year after that or what,
Yeah.
But again, my question becomes, is it intentional?
I think it is.
I have a hard time with that.
So for me, my answer on that is I think officiating is just bad. I think us as fans watching games, we're always going to want that call. We're always going to want it. We all see the stuff that's not called. But when you watch a game subjective, I'm watching UCLA Arizona today, I'm going to see 15 missed calls for both teams. I mean, officiating is just bad across the board. Every conference will say they have the worst officiating. We all know it's the ACC that has the worst officials. But every conference will say they have the worst officials. It's just bad. I mean, it's just bad. It's bad.
I'm going to tell you you're right. I'm going to tell you you're right about that. But here's the thing, Stat. The one thing I would tell you about it is that when you have that game, you had between Texas and Oklahoma, you had 4 total holding calls called against conference opponents last season. 4. I've never seen a freaking football game up until last year that had less than 4 freaking holding calls in the game. Ever.
But I mean, they missed. South Carolina had a holding call missed against Florida.
The holding calls are easy. That's simple to see. But this one, in that last, they missed 3 PIs tonight. The last one, dude was getting tackled out of bounds, and the ref was standing right there. I mean, right there. You could, if you go, I don't want to mess up with the stream or anything like that, but I'm going to post something. And you can look at it, and the ref is literally walking right there by it, and he's just doing this.
Yeah,
it's like
last week.
Was blatant. Yes,
last week in the Florida game, Florida fans got mad about the referee spotting, reviewing the spot on the 4th down or the 3rd down, which led to their coach calling some trick play on 4th down that we blew up. And I told that Florida fan, I'm like, if we go talk about the refs again, like Stat Guy says, you can talk about it like on the next drive for Georgia. Dejan Edwards is running up the middle. Yeah. The referee, as they show the slow-mo, the referee is passing like back to the camera, looking dead at the play. Dejan Edwards' face mask turns his head this way. The second face mask turns his head back, and the third face mask, and the guy is looking at it. So I definitely agree with the calls, but I'm like, Coach, like as a coach, that's one of the first things I always tell my guys. Like, if you come to me, complaining about the refs, you may not get back in the game, because at the end of the day, they're gonna make bad calls. They are gonna make bad calls, but you can't be in a situation where it affects the game. If you guys are that much better than Oklahoma State, that would have made the game tight.
You're right. You're right.
Not
You're right.
lose
They
the
made
game.
enough mistakes on their own. They definitely did that. But I'm just saying, it's pretty blatant. Some of these calls are pretty blatant, and right before that, you have very questionable PI calls, and then you let them get away with that one.
So do you think, Jason? So do you think there was any calls that went against Oklahoma State?
No, they had 5 penalties in the game, 20 yards.
Okay.
Oklahoma
and they were all great calls.
Look,
I
know
curious.
they missed 3 other ones, Coach. They missed 3 other ones, so I'm going to tell you that they didn't get it like that.
Yeah,
I think
Seawalt. Yeah, I was about to say. Stat guy said the ACC refs are bad. Do you feel the same way about the refs in the ACC?
Yeah, it depends on the team with the ACC, man. I feel like Clemson's been getting the short end of the stick for years.
Okay, so you as a Clemson fan feel like Clemson's been getting the short end of the stick, but yet Clemson has had much success. That's what I'm saying. Like at the end of the day, and this is what I was telling. Me and Sean had talked about how my formula for the top 25. He said all formulas are flawed, because they are come up by humans, and humans have error. And I say, well, if all formulas are flawed, then none are flawed. That's how logic works. So if all refs are bad, then no refs are bad. They're just consistent. You know what I'm saying? So
I think it's more or less just game to game and the teams that are playing, man. Because you look back at the game with Miami for us, man, they were getting away with blatant pass interference calls. The one time Wiggins comes up and obviously hits a guy early, they throw the flag out real quick. And it's like, okay, I get it. You didn't throw the flag on them, but Dabo's like, be consistent with it, right? There's no, I will say ACC refs, they're not very consistent. If I feel like, and I guess we all feel like this to an extent, there is some influence to the game depending on what the conference wants to see.
And that's kind of where Jason's going with it, kind of like what the conference wants to see, and to hint to they don't want to see an OU, Texas, Big 12.
And that's
final.
They would hate that.
Secret. That's not even a secret.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was gonna say that's to me, Jason. That's where y'all have some real gripe. Is the commissioner of the conference shouldn't have come out before
he was there too, and he was at the game tonight too, which is the other thing. It doesn't look great.
That was a bad look on his part too, though.
Right,
coming out.
He was gonna be at Bedlam, and he's gonna be at Texas Tech, Texas, and he's already said he wants the 2 teams to win the certain games. If Texas Tech, Texas goes and ends the same way this game does, I'd be filing a lawsuit, because that's like, I mean, you can't. I mean, refs are bad, but like you can't come out before the year. Before the year starts, you can't come out and be like, "Oh, I want Oklahoma State to win, and I want Texas Tech to send Texas home crying." Like,
Copenhagen says he thinks the defense has regressed a little bit, but he thinks people have moved the goalposts. I'm gonna tell you, we talked about this last Saturday. With success, people tend to move goalposts. It happened to Colorado this year. It happened in OU's case before the loss. Like that Kansas loss was the first loss, and it's like once you start to taste that success, you start to say, "Oh man, well, we can win the national championship." But at the beginning of the season, before anybody played it down, I don't know personally know an OU fan that thought they had a chance to win the title. I thought it was more 10-2, 11-1, but that's what happens. It's like the goalposts do get moved with your success. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, it is what it is. As a Georgia fan, dog, we can't win by enough. People aren't they just aren't satisfied because we have to beat people by 50. And if we beat them by 50, why'd you give up 10? Why'd you beat them 50-10? You know what I'm saying? Or 60-10. It's like everybody, it moves with success. That's what comes.
No doubt. So, hey, Coach, I got a video that Stephen G actually took. So if I can share
in the game,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If you can get it up. All right.
I could slow it down a little bit.
Yeah. This is the one from the corner when he was pass interference, right?
Yeah, let me
And this is what now this guy, hold up, before you even hit play, the referee up under the goalpost is the guy that's got to make the call. The referee that's behind him may not be
He was
able
the
to see
one
it.
waving it off, though. Look, he's right there next to it. Right there. You see where my
Yeah. You talking about? I saw what you said.
that ref is right there, like literally at the goal line and watching the play, and he's waving it off before it.
What is the score at? I don't remember what was the score at this point.
This would have put them ahead. This would have put them ahead. They ended up kicking the field goal there.
I got you. Yeah,
Look,
I remember the play you talked because
talking
it was a pass interference. Yeah, when he was grabbing Stoops, I think.
Insanity, man.
So, hey, man.
It is what it is. They
Yeah.
shouldn't have put him in a position to be able to get you like that. That's it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's gonna inevitably, refs are gonna affect drives. They are. I mean, that's just what it is. But you got to be able to overcome those things. Even listen, when y'all come to the SEC, though, I'm like, I don't think there's a referee crew out there that's great. You know, so
hey,
it's
our
not like
conference has great refs.
But I mean, I'm not saying that they're gonna be gunning for OU or Texas, but they're gonna be some bad calls. There's gonna be some bad calls. So just gotta learn to play through that. And I'm pretty sure Brent Venables is telling his team the same thing, man. Georgia 3-peating or Bama winning it all. And somebody said earlier, Nathan said, asked me about Ole Miss next week. I've said all week, I said it in the off season. I had us when I did our win total, me and Stat Guy. I had us at 11.5, and the half was Ole Miss. I thought because they can score on all levels, they got two really good running backs. They can throw the ball. Jackson Dart's playing good. So yeah, they do have a chance to win. We got to come out and listen. We got to hold them down just like we did Missouri. Missouri was a potent offense as well, and we was able to hold them down. I do want to know the extent of Jamon Dumas-Johnson's. I hope he didn't separate his shoulder. I hope it was just a stinger, but he didn't play the rest. He didn't play in the second half after getting a huge stop on third down, and that's our leader of our defense. But our defense still held it together. We played two true freshmen in his spot. They missed some assignments, to say the least, but they made a couple of plays too. So that's just what it is. It's the name of the game, man. We're playing without Brock Bowers too, so hopefully he'll be back if we can hold on and get to the SEC championship. But yes, Nathan, to answer your earlier question, I do think it's a test. If we win next week, Sooner Cowboys, I don't think we lose until the playoffs. If we lose, I don't think Bama can beat us. I know what they did to LSU, but LSU's defense is absolute. It was trash before the injuries, and then Mekhi Wingo is out for the rest of the season, and they lost their best corner. So, no, I don't think Alabama can beat us. I'm not saying we three-peat. I'm just saying if we win, because if we win next week and Missouri goes on to beat Tennessee, we actually clinch the East, and I don't see us. Listen, it might be a close game in Tennessee, but I really don't think so. We really don't play. We play good on the road at Tennessee. So we'll see what all happens, man. One game at a time. What's going on, Kim? Hey, welcome in. How you feeling, Kim, after today's game? I know you're getting here a little late, and we're towards the end of this, towards the end of the OU talk, man. But how you feeling after this bedlam? Let's talk about that. I don't know how much y'all saw. Let's talk about that. Ohio State Rutgers. Ohio State struggled for a good portion. I know that the score was 35-16, but that is not how the game went. That is not. Coach, I know you watched that game, and listen, Rutgers had a chance to win that thing.
Rutgers pissed it away is what they did. They had a chance to win that ball game. And you guys know, I've said this all year long. Ohio State just keeps playing with fire. I still don't, and I know they have them ranked number one. Guys, they are going to get beat. And now, but they're doing what it takes, though. That's the bottom line. From week to week right now, especially like we've talked about starting last week. You know what? Now it doesn't make a damn if you win by 1 point. A win is a win is a win. But I'm still not that impressed with them. And I know most people would say, boy, you're an idiot because they're undefeated. But Rutgers should have beat their ass today. they just choked.
Stat guy, you watched that game?
Man, yeah, that was you. And you know, when you ain't even got a dog in the fight, now I'm all invested because I want Ohio State to lose a game. And then I picked Rutgers to cover the 18.5, and so now I'm really invested. And it's like they're up 9-7. They're driving the ball down Ohio State's throat, getting 6, 7, 8 yards a pop on the run, and now they want to get cute and run their kind of like midline that they run, with the running back being the lead blocker. The quarterback fakes it, takes a step back, and then throws a bullet and just leads him. And then, I mean, you want to talk about the most Ohio State interception off the running back's hands, lands on the guy's shoulder pad, then the guy tackle him, and the ball hangs in the air, and then bam, pick 90 yards to the crib. And I'm like, of course, why would this not happen to Rutgers? And it's
but
like,
that's the thing, though. I know it all seems like luck, and it is sometimes, or whatever, fortune, whatever you want to call it. But championship teams seem to have that fortune all the time. You know, that's what it is. It's like
they make it happen.
Exactly. You find a way to make it happen, and everybody else says, "Oh, that was lucky. If this guy doesn't do this, then you guys lose," or whatever it is. But it's always a if. Championship teams just find a way. Nathan says that he sees. I'll come back to you, Stat. Nathan says he sees Texas losing next week to TCU. That is, it could happen. I don't know if TCU got the defense to slow Texas down, so it's gonna have to be a shootout. But Stat, you go ahead and finish that up on the Rutgers Ohio State.
Yeah, I was gonna say you kind of make your own magic and you make stuff happen. But what you can't make happen is a coach to get away from the run game. Like, and that was my whole thing is you just ran the ball from like the 5 all the way down to the 20, and now you want to throw the ball. Like, just keep handing it off to your running back.
You know what, Stat guy? I tell you what, Stat guy, and Coach I, you'll probably agree with this too, but you know, coaches, we tend to trick ourselves.
We out-coach ourselves.
We do. We something's working, and in our mind we're thinking, you know, hell, they're going to be expecting another run play here. Let's hit them with this, and it'll be easy touchdown. Next thing you know, you're right. It is a touchdown the other way.
Exactly.
So we do. We're the world's worst about tricking ourselves.
Big facts. Kim says on his thoughts on the game, the OU game, I learned one thing: if we throw that bubble or backwards pass about 40 more times a game, we would have another 6 total yards of total offense. Yeah,
that's the worst part of it to me. I don't. It's worse than the officiating.
And sometimes as a coach, like Coach said, man, sometimes as a coach, you kind of overthink it. Sometimes you like. I'm gonna tell you that's why I don't do great. Like, I have this pick contest, and listen, I do decently, but I overthink the game sometimes. Like, I'm thinking from an analytic, I'm like, well, you know, they don't do this well, they don't do that well, and maybe he's thinking we can't hold up against the pass rush, so I can't throw the deep ball. When all the while you probably could hold up against the pass rush, but because of his mind, he told himself that. You know, like for instance, when me and Stat was coaching the AAU basketball game one time, our team was really short, really quick, full court press. That was our thing. Get in your face, hit threes, that kind of thing. We played a Nike team. They were super huge. So I played zone all game thinking they were just going to be able to throw it over the top of our press. After the game, the coach comes to me. He said, man, we've been watching y'all, and we were so glad that y'all did not press us because that would have made us have a hard time all night. Just me. That was me. That was on me. That was me thinking, hey, they tall. They're just going to throw it over the press when I should have just stayed in what I want to do. And sometimes that's what coaches do, man. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm just telling you how it go. So listen, man, it's a tough loss, especially when your Red River rival won today in a dramatic fashion in overtime. Fractured forearm for my guy Jamon Dumas Johnson from Georgia. I thought so because listen, when he stopped that, he literally like threw his arm all the way into the quarterback's leg. I was like, it didn't look good when he did it. So I was like, well, he's gonna be out for the rest of the season. So wait, that's what we recruit good for. So Lori says Lebby needs to be taken to the woodshed. Hey, y'all know again.
He's talking about the studio. That's what everybody's been calling it, the woodshed.
The woodshed. So, Jason, do you think Levy needs to be talked to sternly or put on the hot seat?
Look, I'm not trying to pull the plug here. I'm not there. I think that I've said this before. If he leaves, so does Jackson Arnold. Now, you've got Michael Hawkins coming in, and I think he's going to be really, really good. But I don't think that that's the way to go. I don't think that's the way to go. Now, what I would say is that if you were to lose another game, I think that the rest of it, I think that the last 2 games you need to play Jackson.
Got you. Hey, and me and Stat talked about a little bit of that at South Carolina. Like, not that Spencer isn't getting it done. It's just that, give a little bit more playing time to the so-called future if you're in this situation where you're losing a whole bunch of games or you're away from your goals or whatever. Bob F.
If you're out of the race for the Big 12 at that point, and at this point, you have to ask yourself if the play calling is going to allow them to win it. I don't know why you would continue to go with that way. Jackson may leave, Eric. He may.
Do y'all, Jason, I was going to ask you, do y'all let Dillon Gabriel come back? Because he's got another year.
A COVID year.
He does, but I've been of the opinion, and this is just kind of what you hear around Norman, is that the only way that he was going to get another year was going to be if they won the national championship or got to the playoff.
Because this is the thing, and Bob F14 says, "Don't fire Levy, just slap the hell out of him." Hey, sometimes you need a stern talking to. As far as Dillon Gabriel's concerned, this is a deep quarterback class. I don't know if he's gonna want to. And again, this is all up to the coaches. I don't know.
Around, maybe kind of tutor him a little bit and kind of help him out. I don't know, but I think they want to go into the SEC with Jackson. Although I'm with you on having a guy that with.
Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. First year in the SEC, Dillon Gabriel might be what y'all need just to get. I'm just saying, if he decides he wants to come back, I know that Jackson Arnold's super talented and things of that nature. One thing he won't do
have a conniption fit right now because you're saying all this shit.
Listen, I'm just saying. I'm telling you, dog. Returning quarterback play is so important, especially when you got those big uglies up front that can get after you, dog. Because it's a difference in that in talent and experience. It's 2 different things. You know what I'm saying? And Jackson, we know, got uber talented or whatever. But I can say this: if Dillon Gabriel doesn't go pro, he's hitting the transfer portal if it's suggested that he hangs around to tutor the guy. He's not going to do that. Like he's going to be playing if he stays in college. So I don't know. We'll see.
I don't think that Levy's leaving either, though. All these folks are saying that. I don't think that Levy's leaving either. They owe him too much money to fire him.
Hey, update for y'all that didn't know, man. Mike Wilkinson's brother's house burnt down. And there's a GoFundMe out there. Jason has it on his Twitter. So if you got Jason's Twitter, then you got access to the link. He says they raised $540 so far. Shout out to him, man. And his nephew said the GoFundMe will be up for a while. So yeah, man. So Mike says also y'all beat West Virginia for I think I'm telling you, bro, that travel. That's hard for a team like that's hard. That from West Virginia to Oklahoma, that's not a short trip, dog. So I think you guys and you got home field advantage. So let's see. That's why the head man should always have override over the OC and the DC. That's true. That is definitely true, and that's what Jason was kind of alluding to in the OU case.
Absolutely.
Well, and guys, we had this very conversation a week ago that, because we were talking about Levy and the play calling and that BV should step in. And we even talked about, we sure hope BV sits down with him and has the conversation of what his expectations are of how we want to move the football and what plays but you know what? Looking into this week, it doesn't look like that was had. And so that's another interesting piece of this whole conversation is what is BV going to have that conversation, or we're just going to keep on doing what we're doing?
Yeah. Captain 405 says Jackson Arnold's not leaving regardless of what happens. I disagree with that. I'm
I
not saying
disagree with that.
I'm not saying that he is gonna leave, but if he is tied to Levy as the recruiter, as the guy that got him in, and I don't think Levy's getting fired, by the way. I think he'll get another year. But if Levy were to get fired this year without Jackson Arnold taking the snap, a meaningful snap, that is, there's a great chance that he leaves. Like, that's just what it is, dog.
For me, man, it's in 2023. These guys are not playing for that logo anymore. In most cases, they're playing for themselves. And if they're not gonna play for who they want to play, they're hitting the road. Kind of like Clemson, man. They pride themselves on not using the portal. Well, they've had 42 guys leave since 2019. So those guys aren't playing for that logo. They're playing for themselves. Big
facts, man. Kim says DG cannot hit a player in stride to save his life. Farouk got mauled on at least 4 plays because of underthrows. That is the quarterback's job, and Tom Brady actually made made some statements about that last year, about how if a receiver gets hit hard, that's his fault. It's not the receiver's fault, because he's supposed to lead the receiver out of trouble or keep him out of trouble or things of that nature. So let's see. It said, Coach, you got Coach, you got a point. That's why I didn't want to throw him in this game. All right, go ahead, Stat.
For Jason, were you surprised to see Farouk play? Didn't he get arrested Thursday night?
Yeah, but it was for like a traffic, having a ticket that he had a warrant for. It wasn't
they always be overblowing a lot of that stuff, dog.
It wasn't like a big deal. It wasn't like you did something that, hurt anybody or was drunk driving or anything like that. I mean, could you have kept him out for a minute?
Yeah.
I mean, Baker, what did he miss?
He probably had to run some stadium stairs or something like that. And honestly, the stadium stairs in some cases can be worse than sitting out a game. But hey, it is what it is, man. Let's see. I cut the field in half on the last play. Wendell Oliver, we appreciate you getting in. On the last play for OU, I'm assuming he said, "Why cut the field in half with a rollout play?" Assuming that's what you're talking about. They probably thought they had the matchup, thought they had the numbers. Dillon Gabriel isn't bad on the run. Again, something the coach thought would work because he saw it before. And again, if it works, he's a genius. That's the life as a coach. I will tell you that. That's the life of a coach. You call some stuff that works, and then people be like, man, this dude is calling the hell out of plays. But honestly, it might not even been the best play for the situation.
Had they have lost the Red River game, if they had lost the Red River game, it was totally on Levy. Guaranteed.
That's what I'm saying. Hey. Like sometimes players make you look good, and sometimes players make you look bad. I mean, this is what it is.
Hey, I got to tell you guys, some of the best plays that I ever had as a coach is I sent the play in, and we ran something completely different, or we screwed it up, and hell, we made we scored from 88 out the gate. And it's crazy how that happens. But I know, Coach I, you probably had that happen to you too. I mean,
hey, listen, wow. I subbed a guy out that had played all game for a guy that hadn't played a lot because I just felt like in that situation he was better for the play. The play worked out, and the kid that got subbed out said, "Great call, coach, great call." But had he, had the play not worked out, then they were like, man, that was stupid to take that guy off.
Coach is
Why
an
would
idiot.
You do that? Yeah, coach is an idiot. Like, get him out of here. Like, that's
just like DG did that. DG did that against Texas. He's not even giving that to Levy for calling a good game.
Yeah. So
this is what Bulldogs does.
Yeah, it says Coach I was within 2 points at the time with no touchdowns. Call the score. I got you. Was 23-21. Oklahoma State was up because if they have called that touchdown, Oklahoma would have been lead. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Hey man, those are the things, man. Again, that's a tight game that I'll be honest with you. I picked OU to win and I picked OU to cover the spread. So I didn't think you would be in that situation in the first place. So that's my thing. It's like I felt like Ollie Gordon was good, but I didn't think he was enough to keep him in the game for 4 quarters with y'all. I thought it would be a close first half, and you guys would kind of instill your will on them per se in the third quarter going into the fourth quarter, and it'd be like a 10-plus point game. But that is not how it was. It says Arnold is better and DG ain't the problem. I agree with both of those.
Yeah.
I agree with both of those statements. It was pretty much rotational players going down for Oklahoma State to slow the game. And listen, we've been seeing a lot of that. Players, not just with fast offenses, but just with offenses. Period. But this is not the players though.
These are saw a lot of that too from.
Listen, the coaches. The coaches tell the players nowadays, if you feel like you hurt, go down. Don't try to run off the field. Go down, because it gives them a chance to talk to the team. I mean, it's a coaching advantage. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's a coaching advantage. It gives you a chance to talk to your team. It gives you a chance to rest. Whatever it is, it's like they're told to do that. So it's not just the players out there. But yes, I don't disagree with this statement. I said it. We was playing Auburn. Every time we got a drive started, it wasn't even going fast. They would just go down. It breaks the momentum of the drive. I mean, they have to come out. That's why the rule is you got to come out for at least a play if you go down. But sometimes you're willing to take that. So So
I gotta go. I'm not gonna keep up with this stuff. Now they're calling for BV's head in there too. I know everybody's upset, but you guys get some freaking perspective for God's sakes.
Yeah, hey man, I think Brent Venables, whether you think he's the guy down the line or not, you can't, he's doing good right now. Again, it's 2 losses. And if you can tell me you honestly thought you was not going to have 2 losses this year, for sure before the season, then you have a right to be saying some of that. But I don't know of any of you that said for sure we are 11-1 or 12-0. There's no way. Not coming off of the year you had.
Nobody said.
That's what I'm saying.
They're going to lose the home games to West Virginia and to.
Look
Hey,
much.
Jason,
Again, y'all talked about y'all were talking about the goalpost moved, and that's
what
exactly what happened. The goalpost moved because let's just be honest here. OU people thought when they were undefeated, now we're looking at playing for a natty possibly. And so the goalpost moved. And now when we get that loss last week, we're all up in arms. And then we get this one this week. And they forget where we started the year.
Exactly.
They forget all about that because Oklahoma, obviously, they're not going to be in the title run for the natty and probably not for a conference championship. But at the end of the day, they are still better than they were a year ago.
Miles better.
And their recruiting is miles better. And so they're going to be perfectly fine. Again, when you have losses, everybody comes out and everybody's pissed. And, so-and-so sucks and this happens and that happens. But at the end of the day, OU's still a good football team. And they're going to continue to improve.
This drives me nuts, man. You look what Venables lost coming into that job. You look at all the transfers of that.
It was the Lincoln.
Look what he took over. And then, they had the year they had last year, which I think most real fans expected it not to be great. Yeah. And then they expected improvement this year, right? I still expected Oklahoma to lose 3 to 4 games this year. They started out 7-0 or whatever it was, and
that's exactly.
I get it. I get it. You want your team to win out when you're 7-0. You're looking at the bigger picture now, but the reality of this whole thing is they're much further ahead than most people thought they should be right now.
They're further ahead of schedule than Lincoln Riley and USC.
Yeah.
So and that's the thing. It's and I've seen some USC fans do the same thing, and I'm like, bro. That's because y'all moved the goalposts. First, you say you just, you're going to win the Pac-12, and then you win a couple of games, and it's like, now we can win the Natty. It's like, whatever the goals are before the season, they're still the same goals. You like as a Georgia fan, I have different goals because we've been there. As a Clemson fan, Seawalt has different goals because he's been there. When you are trying to get there, you can't change it in the middle of the season. Now you want to fire the coach because he didn't hit can't win the natty now. So if he finishes 10-2, you're gonna fire the dude. Second season after going 6-7, he goes 10-2. You trying to fire the guy? Again, whether I believe he's the guy or not, you gonna fire a guy after a 10-2 season. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
I'm just letting you know if they want to pull that trigger. I know a school in the state of South Carolina that's going to be looking for a defensive coordinator.
Big facts, man.
He can come on down to Columbia. I'll take him right now.
So, man, that's just what it is, man.
Will you take Levy with him too?
Class in Oklahoma history too.
Yeah.
They're about to sign the best defensive class in OU history,
So,
along with the number 1 running back in the country, one of the toppers, and a running back that should be ranked way high up there as well. They're not it's whatever happens this year. If they did go 8-4, like what Sooner Cowboys is saying, it's not the worst season in the world. Whenever Lincoln took the best parts of a team that was ready to lose, if it wasn't for Caleb Williams with him, and they're already better than USC.
Copenhagen says, I agree with everything he says. Arnold, we might score 50 today, but he's also a true freshman. It's kind of risky throwing him in. That's the thing that sometimes as fans, you see the talent from the young guys, but sometimes they're not ready for that. Like, who knows if Jackson Arnold would have been ready for Bedlam, not a regular game. Like Bedlam, that's different. Like, you can't just be throwing people out there all willy-nilly and think it's gonna just be, great.
That's a big jump.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
I mean, that was Cade and Clemson last year.
Hey, Clemson tried it last year, yeah.
When Clemson we're calling for him to start against South Carolina. And
hey, you don't have to listen to me, Jimmy. I mean, it's totally up to you, dog.
No, he was saying that in a good way. He said right after that.
Oh, my bad, dog. I'm sorry, Jimmy. That's on me, dog. I was about to say, like, dog, I'm out here trying to save, like back y'all off the cliff, bro. Like, I mean, but yeah, my bad, Jimmy. That's my bad, dog.
Listen, if I'm an OU fan, I'll definitely take what's going on in Oklahoma versus, the reality probably would have been with any other head coach.
I'm telling you, like right now, again, even if it's 8-4, which I don't see. Even if it's 8-4, that's still improvement on what you guys did. Again, like you say, he taking a lot of the guys that that made the offense really good. Theo Weiss left to go, and he left to go to Missouri. You lost Caleb. You lost I want to say it was Mims or somebody. It was another receiver that left, and he took your recruits. So it's like, dog. Brent Venables' first time being a head coach. Right now, you got 2 losses, and these are 2 very decent losses too. Like, these teams ain't like, I mean, it's not like y'all lost to I don't know, Mississippi State. I mean, Mississippi State is terrible. So Bumbo, what are you saying, Bumbo? You sold us Fusco.
He wins the comment battle tonight too, because
man, Bumbo is all the way off the Lincoln train, dog. Like he's been having some good comments, man. Listen, I think Lincoln's still an offensive genius. Listen, the reverse throwback flea flicker pass. Everybody normally does a double reverse where they hand it to the guy in motion. He hands it to he flips it to the wide receiver to the side he's going, and then that guy gives it back. Instead, Lincoln had the same guy that went in motion that got the ball, turn right back around and go right past the quarterback, leaving the guy wide open. Bruh, I was like, that's some offensive genius. The problem is he doesn't care to coach in a way that plays complementary football for his defense. And I'm going to be honest with you. Alex Grinch is not a good DC. I agree. But even if you get a good DC, that's not the style of ball that Lincoln plays. You have to be able, you have to you gotta run the ball. You gotta run the ball to help your defense out, though. OU scores. Not OU. I'm sorry. USC scores way too quick, even when they're up, some points. Like, sometimes you gotta play that complementary football. Mario Williams, that's right, Thunder OU. You right, Mario Williams. He was just. Hey, last year he was good for USC. So that was just Sooner last year. There wasn't a player on the team that knew anything. It was understandable. This is on the OC. Yeah. So, all right, Jason, you got to get up out of here, man.
Yeah, I gotta go. All
right, man.
No, man. I appreciate you guys.
All right, tell people where they can find you if they didn't already know.
Yeah, everybody knows all the mafia members, current mafia members. They know where to find me, but it's CFB-pod here on YouTube, and then JW_HOF on Twitter. So
All right,
yeah,
man.
see you guys on Tuesday for sure. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me, Stat Coach. Talk to you soon. Seawalt.
See you, buddy.
Keep pushing record, Seawalt. Keep pushing record.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
Jason, man.
Later, brother.
Yeah, man. So, but hey, man, I know this is how it is after a loss. You can find everything that's wrong with your team, but at the end of the day, sometimes that's why you need 24 hours to process. Whether it's a win or a loss, you need 24 hours to process. And when you're watching the game, coach is saying, I know y'all think it's coach speak, but it's not always as good as it looked, and it's not always as bad as it looked. So just take that with whatever, grain of salt or whatever. But try to watch the game again on Monday. Like if you recorded the game, watch the game again on Monday, and then you'll be able to see some stuff. You may still feel the same way, but you gotta let it, right, Coach?
Yeah, and you know what? Usually you don't feel the same way because you're going to see things the second time around that you're going to say, oh boy, I missed that, or that wasn't that bad a call as I thought it was, or there's a lot to it when you watch it. Guys, we're all fans. We all have our teams. We're super invested. We get very emotional about hell, I was as emotional as I could be today during our ball game. But at the end of the day, you know what, guys? It's not, we're going to wake up tomorrow and the world's still going to be here. And we just keep on moving and moving forward. I mean, we got a lot of question marks at Notre Dame too. So, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to cry over them. And I mean, hell, that's somebody else's job.
That's right. Don't be a Tyler from Spartanburg. So, hey, spot.
I may need to next week.
For real. Bob says one spot that gets overlooked is finding a good field goal kicker. I mean, somebody mentioned that way early in the show, about an hour and a half ago or so. But you're right, Bob. You can't miss field goals like that. Georgia started out this year, same situation, but now our guy has found his rhythm. And he's hitting those field goals. So field goal kicking is such a mental game, fellas. Like, I don't care how good you are, it is such a mental game.
And kickers and punters, high jumpers and pole vaulters are all out of their minds.
Big facts. Big facts, man. So, hey, man, I appreciate all y'all coming in, man. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. It's getting to be midnight here. Stat. What you got on the way out? We'll give the people something on the way out, man.
If y'all
give the Sooners a reason to get off the cliff.
Oh, they I can't give a reason to get off the cliff because I said their ceiling was 8-4, and I'm looking right. So I'm not the man to give the medicine, but I will inform the people. Check out FS1 and check out Arizona UCLA because Arizona's defense is nasty.
And I said that they were probably going to lose this game because Arizona has been playing good at home and Pac-12 road teams haven't been good. Steve G says, can somebody besides the Georgia fan talk about losses? Steve G, believe it or not, dog. Listen, I'm a late 90s dog. I was classmates. I was at, with Kirby. I was in school with him, and I got a lot of experience when we were in school about losing. Oh my God, dog! Like we couldn't buy a doggone important win. So listen, I get it, dog. I get it. But hey, Coach, he said, well, he says he's got Mike Wilkinson's got to go. We appreciate you, Mike. Jason put the GoFundMe link in the chat for Mike Wilkinson's brother whose house burned down. So if you want to give, go ahead and give. And what I'm saying. Salute to your family, Mike, and prayers goes out, man. Seawalt, we appreciate you jumping in on us with us today, man. Hopefully next Saturday you won't, have a whole bunch of stuff to do and you get to watch the games live.
Yeah, man. Hey, I'm off next Saturday, man. Thanks for having me on here again. So, I'll be ready to go watching all football next Saturday again.
That's right, man. It's gonna be another. That's right, man.
Thank you, Coach.
Hey, make sure you hit record. That's right.
Yeah, man. Hey, record. The record button is here. Well, here's the problem. I actually recorded, but what happened is I unplugged my mic and then plugged it back in, and I didn't go back in and select my mic. So
Listen,
I recorded
man.
this thing quiet. It is what it is.
Hey, listen, things happen like that, man. To be honest with you, I told Stat Guy this story. So Corey Allen, one of my co-hosts on Respect the Hedges, one of UGA's finest receivers in our time, and he was telling a story about how we sent his catch sent us into the first overtime in the SEC. I wasn't recording, Seawalt, for about 20 minutes, dog. I wasn't recording, and it was like I missed all the good stuff, dog. So hey, it happens to the best of us, dog. So
hey, so everybody be on the lookout. I am gonna drop a video. It's gonna be hit on record. It's gonna be the Clemson Notre Dame review. My thoughts on the review. So that'll be dropping 4th and Goal with Seawalt on Twitter and YouTube.
Make sure you go out there and find him, man. 4th and Goal with Seawalt, man. Talking football. He's gonna start dropping some stuff. Steve, my guy Stephen G says, what year was the last loss? I'll accept criticism from the rest of the panel. Hey, man, I get it.
That's
I get
funny.
it. So, Coach, man, I appreciate you stopping by, man. Like I say, hey,
Thanks
Coach
for having me.
came. Notre Dame didn't play good today, and Coach came. So that's just what we do as fans. Like he said, man, the sun will rise tomorrow, and God willing, we will wake up in the morning and go on. So that is what it is. And I appreciate everybody that joined in the Hall of Fame Mafia, all my fanatic people. We appreciate everybody, man. Until next Saturday, man, 10:30, Saturday Night Snap Count. We're about to be out of here.
Peace.